Good afternoon. I'm Dan DeRosa with 19 News, coming to you from our digital desk. Now that the United States and Israel's war with Iran has stretched into the third day, it is time to start asking, how is this going to impact you? And for most of us, no direct impact, but you may see an impact the next time you get gas. And it is an important question to ask. There are transportation routes of crude oil that are being watched closely. Anytime there is unrest in the Middle East, you're going to have a problem. I've done enough with Gas Buddy and Patrick DeHaan, their lead petroleum analyst, to know that there are two major things that can affect us at the gas pump anytime you have a hurricane and shutdowns of refineries, and anytime there is instability in the Middle East. And that's exactly what we have. So let's bring in the lead petroleum analyst for Gas Buddy, an incredible website to track the cheapest gas around you at any given time. Patrick, thanks for joining us yet again. You've been on with us several times. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me back again, Dan. I appreciate it.
Boy, turbulent times. I'm not sure that anybody completely knew what was going to happen 3 days ago. From an oil standpoint, from your standpoint, what happened on Friday and over the weekend that should have the rest of us concerned?
Well, a lot of jarring images of missiles in the sky and attacks on various infrastructure, various things, and watching it all unfold. Obviously, Iran's an oil producer. They lie on the doorstep of the Strait of Hormuz, a waterway that carries 20% of the world's oil supply. And keep in mind, it's not a producing mechanism. The Strait of Hormuz does not produce oil, but it allows that oil to be carried to customers. And so that's going to be problematic. Iran already attacking several vessels in the Strait of Hormuz to drive instability. And it's that instability, that increased in risk, that now is basically halting travel through the strait. Iran has not de facto closed it. They have no or very little military infrastructure in the Strait of Hormuz. But the simple act alone of attacking vessels has caused so much uncertainty that vessels don't want to enter essentially a bad neighborhood. And it's that is sending oil prices up today, as now the flows of oil that are normal are not normal, and those countries needing oil will have to find it somewhere else.
I've been watching the markets based on your tweets, your social media, and your blog presence. I really actually expected oil to a bigger spike today. We've seen it bounce somewhere between 4, 5, 6% up trading wise. I expected a bigger spike.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of folks out there that may have expected a Russian size spike when oil prices took 2 weeks during Russia's war in Ukraine. They eventually jumped by nearly $40 a barrel. Every situation is a little bit different. I think this situation was reduced in the impact so far, partially because Iran's crude oil has been sanctioned for many years. President Trump, under his first term in office, sanctioned Iran. And really, since then, the U.S. has put a lot of pressure on other countries to follow suit. And so that's why this was less impactful, is because Iran's crude oil has essentially been sanctioned for quite some time. Obviously, that's a big problem. Now, when we talk about gas prices, we're already seeing a bit of a jolt at gas pumps across northeastern Ohio. Gas prices cycled today to their highest level since really fall of last year. And now many stations in Ohio are raising prices to about $3.19 a gallon. That is about 20 cents higher than the last cycle that we saw a little over a week ago.
And to explain cycling, I've worked enough with Patrick to understand that we're one of those states. Not every state follows price cycling. You get gas stations that compete against each other and they keep dropping prices and dropping prices. Sometimes they can even be selling gas where they're losing a couple of cents a gallon. I know that seems hard to believe, but then when they price cycle, when they get back to where they need to recoup some of that money, that's when you see that giant tick up. So, Patrick, you're going to say the price cycling that we're seeing, people are going to be driving around Northeast Ohio saying, oh, look at what Iran did. Look, it's 317, it's 319 already. Not entirely because of what's going on in Iran.
That's correct. And the best way, Dan, to look at this is the difference between this cycle amount and the previous cycle. That's 20 cents a gallon. That's about on par with expectations. But you have to compare apples to apples. And to your point, when gas prices in Ohio cycle, that is, make a huge jump up, then plunge, then make a huge jump up, what you really need to do is compare the tops. And this time around, it's 319. The last hike was to 299. That's about on par. And that's what most Americans are going to be seeing, about a 15, 10, 15, 20 cent increase here over the next week or two. But prices in Ohio move faster in both directions, up and down. So you're the tip of the iceberg.
Should people, I do not want to panic anyone, and that's where I'm taking this question. This is not a time to panic buy, and nobody should be stockpiling gasoline. First of all, it's very dangerous to do something like that. But what would be your advice to people? It's not time to panic buy. What should they be doing?
Well, I didn't even think about it. I filled my tank up on Saturday because my wife had been bothering me about how the tank was only at a quarter. If it hadn't have been below a quarter, I probably would have continued to go. But I mean, at the end of the day, again, to the notion of filling up, just go about life as normal. If you need gas, get it. There's not any risk of any shortage. It's just going to be a minor impact to what you pay at the pump. And like I said, across Northeast Ohio, you're already seeing it. 319 a gallon still compared to 2022 is probably a pretty good deal. So ultimately, at the end of the day, there's going to be a bit of a pinch at the pump that we're already seeing, but it's not really a reason to change behavior. If you normally fill up on Friday, keep filling up on Friday. By the way, that's the most expensive day of the week, according to Gas Buddy. The cheapest day, Dan, is Sunday. And now that you look at prices going up today, you probably wish you would have filled up yesterday too.
Excellent. Patrick DeHaan, lead petroleum analyst with Gas Buddy. Again, it's a phenomenal website. I highly encourage you take a look at it. Find some cheaper gas in your area. Sometimes you might be able to drive just a mile or two and find gas that's cheaper. You find one of those stations that's battling out with somebody else. So an incredible resource there. Patrick, thanks for the time and good luck. I'm sure we'll be in touch in the future.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, take care. Again, we wanted to get this out, what's going to happen with prices at the pump, as you just heard from an expert, and that's what we do here. We want you to hear from the people who know and the people who track this. Not a time to panic, but you could see a little bit of a pinch at the pump. If we have any other breaking news, it's going to be right here on our digital platforms. Otherwise, look for 3.5 hours of news and first alert weather on Channel 19. You can also get that on the 19 News Plus app. Whether it's on your smart TV or your smartphone, you can always watch our newscasts live for free. Until then, I'm Dan DeRosa with 19 News. Have a good afternoon.